After last year's harvest, my kids had picked a few just tiny little potatoes. They were too small to eat, so we just left them in our hanging basket and they all sprouted. So I decided I was gonna plant them and see what I could grow. As you can see, in Vermont, we still had snow on the ground in the beginning of April. So I grabbed some dirt, I filled up some of my little planters, I put a little bit of bone and blood meal fertilizer in there, gave each baby potato a pot and covered them, and I brought them inside. I put them in a sunny window, and on the 13th they popped up. By the 16th they were even bigger. So I decided it was time to take them out to the garden and plant them in my planter box for my experiment. So on one side I planted the little baby ones, you can see them here. On the 30th they're getting bigger. And then by May 14th I decided it was time to plant the bigger potatoes. I wanted to give the little ones a head start so that they could have a chance to kind of sprout before they could be crowded out by their brothers and sisters. On the morning of May 18th, disaster struck. There was a hard frost and my poor little babies didn't survive very well. As you can see here, one of them seems to have come out okay, but the other four took some pretty serious damage. One of them basically dying off. You'll see that in some later pictures. My big potatoes, which I had planted just a little while earlier, were still underground, so they weren't affected. Here's May 19th. You can see that the tall one on the back left survived. The other ones have various levels of damage. On June 1st, now you can see the big potatoes are starting to pop up, but only basically 2.5 of my baby potato plants actually survived the hard frost. By June, the big plants were getting bigger and my little guys were still pretty much dead. Within a month, the big ones had completely crowded out the little ones, even growing some beautiful flowers. After 3 months, basically the weeds had taken over my little planter. You could still see the remnants of the plant. You can kind of see them there. It's like the center stalk of the potato plant. I left them in because it's, if you dig down right below them, you can start to find where the potatoes are. You can kind of see me doing that here. So I'm just sort of digging right below where the main stalk of the plant was and feeling around for the potatoes. So I started with the big potatoes first, and you can kind of see what I end up getting. At the end, I'll have a weight of how much potato that was. And you can see there's different varieties. There's some big ones, and there's a couple little baby ones. That's a future experiment right there. As you can see, the baby potato harvest was not nearly as big. A lot of the potatoes were a lot smaller. I had a couple of good-sized ones that would be edible, eating potatoes, not just seed potatoes. I have to think that if my little guys had a chance to grow to full-size plants rather than hit by the frost, I think it would have been a lot more. So here's the weigh-in, the haul. The big potatoes I had to weigh them twice because there was too many of them. It came out to about almost 5 pounds. The babies were just over 1 pound. So in conclusion, I think had my baby potatoes not been basically killed off by the frost, I think they would have done better. I think I maybe would have had 2 pounds of potatoes, maybe even 3 potentially. It was a worthwhile experiment. If you have little tiny potatoes and you don't know what to do with them and you want to plant them the next year, I think it's a great chance to really stretch your potato dollar. As you can see, some of the potatoes were pretty good sized.
For I admire these tiny spuds too small upon the plate, yet held within their humble skin a future grand does wait. And I might smile at earth and jewels where others see no crown. No crown. I don't know why it's in my roots, it's just the way I'm bound. I might be seen with basket light out in the emerald fields, inspecting each potato small potential it conceals. And everybody who feels with tender care these sprouts I'll raise beneath the welkin blue, a testament to patient hands from soil life anew. So raise a song for spuds so small with heart and hope they're sown, for in each eye a world's green sprawl from tiny seeds now grown. And we'll watch the emerald leaves as they reach for the sky, knowing humble hearty roots below in Irish soil they lie.